It really feels like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? But it's actually happening right outside our windows. Welcome to today's Explainers. We are standing at an absolute crossroads in human history right now. The rapid, almost dizzying acceleration of robotics and artificial intelligence is fundamentally rewriting the rules of our society. And listen, this isn't some distant theoretical problem for our grandkids to worry about in the next century. This is an urgent, massive transformation happening as we speak, and today we're going to break down exactly what it means for the future of humanity.
If you're feeling even slightly complacent about this, let's just go ahead and shatter that right now. The sci-fi future is already here. A robot didn't just casually enter a cooking competition recently, it completely beat a highly trained human chef. Hopefully without all the kitchen yelling, of course. Then you have another robot that was put in a totally brand new environment and literally taught itself how to walk from scratch in a single hour. And AI? It successfully passed the Turing test, fully convincing real human evaluators that it was a flesh and blood person. So yeah, we are no longer waiting for the future to arrive. It is here, and it is learning way faster than we ever anticipated.
To wrap our heads around all of this, here is our roadmap for navigating our robotic future. We are going to start with the wake-up call, move into the automation wave, look at the rise of AGI, weigh our options between utopia or dystopia, and then figure out how we can actually prepare for the future.
All right, part one, the wake-up call. Because like we said, the sci-fi future is already working right alongside us. To truly grasp what's happening, we basically have to throw out our old definition of what a machine is. A modern robot is completely different from those simple, predictable machines of the last century. Those older machines needed human instructions for absolutely every single micro-action. But today's robotics? They run on a continuous loop of sense, think, and act. They perceive their environment using highly advanced sensors, vision, and sound. Then, they use AI to process all that raw data and make complex decisions on the fly. And finally, they execute those decisions with extreme physical precision. The crucial leap here is autonomy. They adapt, they learn, and they figure things out entirely on their own.
And this autonomy is far from theoretical. It's heavily deployed as we speak across major industries. Look at manufacturing. Tesla is utilizing over 5,000 robots on their factory floors to paint, weld, and assemble cars 24/7, no coffee breaks needed. Over in logistics, Amazon has deployed more than 500,000 robots to move warehouse goods around, basically turning the fulfillment centers into these massive, highly automated hives. And in healthcare, you've got the Da Vinci surgical robot performing precision operations with incredibly small cuts and better outcomes than human hands can pull off. Millions of these systems are operating right now, with a single industrial robot effectively doing the work of 3 to 5 human beings.
Which brings us to part two, the automation wave. And honestly, we really need to brace for a job apocalypse here. 375 million. Let that number really sink in for a second. According to a massive, comprehensive McKinsey study, 375 million workers worldwide could be displaced by automation by the year 2030. That is not some abstract concept for the next century. That's literally right around the corner. 375 million livelihoods gone. It's a real punch to the gut, and it shows the unprecedented scale of the economic shift we are currently staring down.
And if you're sitting there thinking, well, my industry is safe, you might want to reconsider. This disruption is sparing nobody. We're talking about 3.5 million trucking jobs in the US alone vanishing as self-driving vehicles take over. That's going to totally alter the economies of entire towns that were built around rest stops and logistics. Fast food kitchens are becoming fully robotic, tossing fries and flipping burgers with barely any human staff around. But it's not just physical labor. Highly educated white-collar professionals are squarely in the crosshairs too. AI assistants are already writing pristine legal briefs. They're diagnosing complex diseases with fewer errors than human doctors. They're even starting to teach classes. The transition is going to be incredibly brutal across the board.
Now let's move to part three, the rise of AGI. We are shifting from machines that do just one thing to machines that do literally everything.
Up until right about now, we've mostly been dealing with what's called narrow AI. That's highly specialized intelligence. It plays a mean game of chess, it drives cars, it recognizes your friends' faces in your photo app. It is incredibly capable, sure, but it's fundamentally stuck in its own lane. But researchers are rapidly developing artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This is an intelligence that can do absolutely everything a human can do. It thinks, it creates, it adapts, it solves problems, and it will likely do all of that far better and cheaper than us. Experts are estimating we might be only 5 to 10 years away from this milestone.
And once general AI arrives, humans effectively become obsolete for the vast majority of economic functions.
But you know what? Human obsolescence isn't even the scariest part of this whole thing. The real massive hurdle is AI alignment. This is the ethical and technical challenge of ensuring an artificial intelligence's goals perfectly match up with human survival and values. Think about it. If an AI becomes super intelligent, meaning it's smarter than all humans combined by a massive margin, and its goals don't align perfectly with ours, it's going to achieve its goals, and we will be entirely powerless to stop it. That is the existential risk of AI, and the scary truth is, right now we just do not have a clear, bulletproof solution for it.
This brings us to a profound pivot point in our story. Part 4, Utopia or Dystopia, the diverging paths of 2050. Because the technology itself, it's completely neutral, but the human choices we make today will absolutely dictate which of these two potential futures we end up in. First, picture the unprepared future. If we just let the market run its course with zero intervention, we are looking at mass unemployment, immense wealth hoarded by a tiny fraction of people who actually own the robots, and inevitable social chaos, a totally bleak dystopian collapse. But then there's the prepared future. Imagine if robots handle all the dangerous, tedious work, and we actually share the massive wealth they generate. We could enter a genuine post-scarcity utopia. We could implement things like universal basic income, where products become incredibly cheap and humans are entirely liberated from forced labor. We finally be free to pursue meaningful, highly creative lives.
And guys, we do not have much time to decide which path to take. Just look at this impending acceleration on the timeline. By 2025, humanoid robots are entering factories. By 2030, a full fifth of all manufacturing is totally automated. By 2040, general AI emerges, and half of all jobs become automatable. Jump to 2050, and that spikes to 80% or more, which means by 2060, we are either living in a post-scarcity utopia or a post-civilization wasteland. And here's the real kicker. This entire timeline assumes a steady, predictable pace. A single major breakthrough could compress this whole thing, bringing society-altering transformation way faster than we can adapt.
Which leads us straight into Part 5, preparing for the future. We have to take the wheel immediately. We can't just sit around and wait for disaster to strike.
We need proactive solutions right now, and they need to be built on 4 main pillars. First up is education. We've got to stop teaching rote memorization. AI is already vastly better at it than we are. Instead, we need to teach what humans do uniquely well: creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. Second is economics. We need to start seriously testing and implementing strong social safety nets, like universal basic income right now, well before mass unemployment hits. Third is regulation. We absolutely must establish firm AI safety standards and make alignment testing mandatory before these powerful technologies get deployed. And finally, philosophy. For generations, our entire identities have been tied to what we do for a living. We have to figure out what a meaningful human life actually looks like outside of traditional labor.
If there is one crucial thing you take away from this explainer today, make it this. The technology doesn't determine the outcome. Human choices do. Whether we use robots to hoard wealth and power for a select few, or use them to completely free humanity from the heavy burden of labor, is entirely up to the decisions we make right now, today.
Which really leaves us with the ultimate, provocative question we all need to be asking ourselves, our communities, and our leaders. What kind of society do we actually want to build? The robots are coming. The revolution is already fully underway. But we are at the steering wheel. So let's make sure we drive this incredible technology toward a future where everyone thrives. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning everything, and I'll see you next time.